It was one of these, how to not do things, where you have crazy ambition for the next Hitman, which was to top Blood Money, which, it was kind of the pinnacle, a really good game. And I think also after 4 Hitman games, I think the creatives there were maybe thinking to mix things a bit up. It was also there where IO was doing other things like mini ninjas, right? Some of the people have been there for a long time and got kids and whatnot at that point, and they wanted to do something else than killing, I guess.
And then Kane and Lynch.
Yeah, so some people want to kill more, I guess. So it's the different titles were emerging, right? And back when Absolution's original concepts were kind of formed, it was the heydays of Max Payne and Gears of War kind of thing, and that's where the trend was going, and that's what the creatives wanted back then, and that might have worked pretty well if the technology was ready. A lot of content creators were sitting and waiting for technology. Technology was not ready. A lot of frustrations, a lot of finger pointing. It was really a tough time. It took 7 years to do Absolution. It meant the industry had moved on to more open games again, whereas the formula, the main ingredient of Hitman, open levels, freedom of choice, that became kind of the thing again. The game for the longest time was done as a linear cinematic experience, and when we had to, midst of the project, change that.
IO Interactive were always known for their impressive technology. The original Hitman was among the first games to have realistic physics simulations, and the core of this technology was the studio's in-house engine, Glacier. Hakan had begun at the studio working on Glacier, but now found himself taking over as executive producer on Absolution. But initial demos of the game at E3 had not gone well. The game was originally much more linear and story-driven. It wasn't the Hitman game that fans were expecting.
We got a lot of heat for this doesn't feel like Hitman, it's too linear and action-packed. We did a lot, opened up a lot of locations, put in targets in there because there were no targets. We were only killing targets in cutscenes, not in the game.
One of the biggest learnings for me personally out of Absolution was that if you really want a Hitman experience, it has to be about the player and his relationship to the target. And the nature of how you take out the target needs to be on your terms. It can never either be too scripted in-game, or even worse, it cannot happen in a cinematic or in some way where you're disengaged or where you don't feel like you laid all the pieces of the puzzle and now this is your final sort of act. That is the fascination of the game.